Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the 90 Mile Podcast. You already know who it is. It's your boy, it's Jish. And you already know that it's the other one that we don't even talk to. And somewhere in a hell known as Washington, D.C., there lives a man who we don't talk about.
Nah. Hell nah. Okay. For this video, we're just going to talk about the predictions for quarterbacks plus J.J. Watt. We're also going to talk about the previous two trades. One that actually happened for us will be yesterday. You can tell Jish is upset with the Wentz jersey. But yeah, we're going to start off with that one. Jish, Eagles fan, let's talk. Dude, you're going to get us copyrighted.
I didn't play that much. It's very upsetting for me. Obviously, this was the franchise. This is the last time I'll probably ever wear this jersey. It'll just hang up there as a keepsake, as a remember to fire Howie Roseman, as a token of my gratitude for everything Carson Wentz has done for this organization. I kind of assumed that it would be the Colts. That just makes too much sense. You got Frank Reich there. You have his quarterbacks coach and Press Taylor there. I think they have Al Groh there, who is his offensive coordinator at a point. You know, it's just Wentz. It was Wentz's preferred spot, Wentz's perfect spot. He's already reaching out to a bunch of players on the team, and the Colts are going to contend. They're going to, Wentz is going to be the 2022 comeback player of the year. I'm not prepared for it. It's just such gross incompetence by the Eagles.
There's two things I really wanted to talk about. First off, the Eagles were saying that they were trying to get 2 first-round picks. There's rumors going around that the Bears are going to give 2 first-round picks. After the trade, it came out Colts offered the third and the second, which could be a first, depending on how Wentz plays. That was the original offer. Bears never sent the offer, and Patriots wouldn't even call for him. So Howie Roseman was in his own world with the trading.
It sucks because Howie had no leverage there. I don't know why he even bothered trading Wentz. I mean, Wentz wanted out, but he wasn't being public about it. He was very private about wanting out, so he had no leverage. And he said, "I want to play for the Colts." And the Bears said, "All right, we're out." And the Colts are like, "Listen, this quarterback is as good as ours. We'll give you some compensation, but we're not going to give you what you're asking for. You're a poverty organization, which we are." That's the first time I can say that in years, man. But yeah,
it's okay. Years. It's okay. You'll start Nate Sudfeld next year.
No, he's gone. I think he's a free agent anyway.
Also,
we're gonna draft Trey Lance at 6.
I'm not. I actually think that might happen. I was originally had you guys taking Pitts at 6, but I've been hearing rumors that they're thinking about a quarterback. So why not get rid of Wentz is from North Dakota State, right?
No, I that's literally the only connection Trey Lance would have to the Eagles.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what's gonna end up happening. But
oh my god,
the craziest thing, which just shows how bad Howie Roseman is, they got $32 million in dead cap space because of that trade.
20% of our cap space is taken up by a quarterback who doesn't play for us anymore. It's the most in NFL history.
It's the most.
Howie Roseman was supposed to be like this. Howie Roseman was supposed to be this GM who was incredible at controlling the cap and somehow persuading players to come back at cheap deals, wheeling and dealing left and right. Now we're the second worst team in the NFL when it comes to cap space. So,
no, it's like what happened with the Saints, and you said it's going to happen with the Buccaneers, that they're just going to keep possibly, but they're just going to keep trying to keep their older guys to keep trying to win. And it's going to screw their future. Saints kept doing that with Breeze, and they kept bringing in guys where they didn't have the money for, like Malcolm Jenkins, Janoris Jenkins, they had to be signed. They kept bringing guys that they didn't have the money for. And then the Eagles started doing that a little bit. Now they're...
Too much. I mean, it says something about the Eagles' culture when Malcolm Jenkins took a pay cut to play for the Saints. It says a lot about Howie Roseman. As long as Howie Roseman is in charge, the Eagles are not winning anything. We just cut Deshaun Jackson today.
Complaining.
Shut up. We just cut Deshaun
But
Jackson today, which is a step in the right direction. Ertz is on the trading block, which would be sad to see him go, but he regressed significantly this year. But I heard the Chargers might go grab Ertz. I think the perfect landing spot for Ertz, in my opinion, is the Falcons. But because his old tight
Falcons
end
wouldn't
coach
go
is
for him.
there, it's a good offense with Arthur Smith, who made Jonnu Smith go crazy last year. Uh,
What about? Don't forget. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he also ends up in Indy because Indy has Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox, which are both solid, but
and Trey Burton.
Wentz at his and Trey Burton, but like Wentz at his peak, and Wentz like 2 years ago is 10 times better than all. Not Wentz, Ertz. 2 years ago is 10 times better than all of them. If Ertz can have the bounce back year, coming back with Wentz, with Frank Reich, who was their former offensive coordinator as the head coach, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Indy and has a big comeback year.
I don't think that happens because why would the Eagles leave Ertz out of this deal and could have if they threw Ertz in with the Wentz deal, they might have been able to get a first out of like a solid first out of it. Um, so why I don't understand why they would do two separate trades for that value. I don't think the Colts wanted him. I guess since I heard his name was in rumors,
Yeah,
and now the Chargers are inquiring about him. But honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen because Ertz has made it clear that the team and him are parting ways. So why would a team trade for him now when they can just get him as a free agent?
no. Yeah, it happens way too often. Like J.J. Watt
Yeah,
just recently, and
like,
Richard Sherman when he left Seattle.
it's screwing up the leverage, you know. Like when you say, "Oh, I'm gonna leave anyway," it's terrible. And you know, like it's not like Howie Roseman's that skilled of a GM when it comes to trades. I mean, come on, we got Jannard Avery for a fourth round pick, and somehow we lost that trade. um, but yeah, exactly. You might be thinking, who is Jannard Avery? Exactly. Um, uh, it's not like he's a masterful trader anyway.
Hey, it's not like Dave Gettleman's any better.
Listen,
No,
Listen, all right. As
he
much as
no
I like
no.
love to clown on Dave Gettleman had some like pretty like the Bradbury signing that was very high quality. The Martinez signing,
Oh,
the Leonard
the
Williams
London.
trade.
What I've started to notice with Gettleman is that
He's
the
just a
moves that he
weird
makes,
drafter.
yeah, it's weird. But his first round drafts picks are usually pretty, like Daniel Jones was a crazy. Andrew Thomas was a crazy pick. But if you look at like the later round picks, maybe I see it more because I'm a Giants fan. He does usually do well with the later round picks, but like his first day one and first round and second round picks, he's terrible with
I
for the
mean,
most part.
Dexter Lawrence has been pretty good, and I mean,
Yeah, besides him, but look,
Andrew Thomas was one of the tackles who was expected to go that high anyway. I mean, it's just you
yeah.
could have picked between
Well, he
Thomas. It's just kind of like hindsight because Wirfs did so well, but Thomas was just expected to be like this mauler.
Yeah, I'm still big on Thomas. I think he like rookie. He like the thing is that he this year he one week he had a phenomenal week. The next week it will be terrible. I think with the real off season, he'll be able to improve. But like, what was it? Trading into the first round for DeAndre Baker. I think that was one of the in hindsight one of the worst things
Oh,
Dave Gettleman has
what
done.
if he got a ring? What if he got a ring with Kansas
Oh my
City?
god!
Oh my god, that's how I felt.
But
That's how I feel about so many Eagles players
what
who
I
just go on to do great outside of Philly.
well I heard this thing that like after he signed with Kansas City, it turns out that he was innocent or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how true. Yeah,
The
it was all
entire
made up.
thing. Yeah, it was. I don't know why, but both of them were framed. I think. I
Yeah,
don't want to. I don't want
that's
to make
just
anything punitive because like our
yeah.
20 viewers might sue us. I don't know, but it
There's so many different things that came out of that
was
story
so
that I have no
weird. It
clue
was
what.
so
Like
bizarre.
it's so weird. It comes out with DeAndre Baker and who's the other guy?
Uh,
He former
Quentin Dunbar.
Washington, now on Quinton Dunbar, and then like after it comes out that they're innocent, and then they say, well, no, they're guilty, but actually no, it's just Baker who's guilty and not Dunbar, and then
Yeah.
Baker's like Baker gets cut from the Giants, like so much stuff happens, and then comes out that he's innocent. Like there's so much
It's
stuff
a
in
weird
this
saga. It's not
situation.
like DeAndre Baker was any good anyway. I miss him
Well,
being
no,
on the
that's the
Giants.
thing.
He he
Well,
he
look, he
could have
had
been good, but like
yeah. I'm saying if
Byron
because
Murphy
I
was there,
like
Byron Murphy would be a so much better corner.
oh yeah no, but I'm trying to say like his first year, the beginning half is terrible, which is expected for rookie corners. Rookie corners tend to need a year or two to transition from college to the NFL. But I'm saying I had a lot of hopes for him because what's his our defensive coordinator? I always forget his name. Uh, I'm terrible with names.
How do you not know your own defensive coordinator's name? We
I
have a
know who what
football
he looks.
podcast and you don't know the defensive coordinator of your own
No,
team.
that's the thing.
You
I
have to
know
do
who
a
he
bunch of
is.
research for this coaching episode that we're going to do next week, so buckle up. What is it like? No, I'm thinking
He
no.
used to coach the defense for Miami. Yeah,
If you
it's
don't know, I
bothering
don't
me some.
know. If you don't know,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
forgetting. I know who he is, but I'm forgetting the name. Uh,
Okay. The
like
only
I
assistants
haven't
I
picked
know
it.
that you have is Jason Garrett and Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, we have Jason Garrett, Freddie Kitchens, Joe Judge. Remember when he? Who else remembers when he got into the fight with our offensive line coach?
And then he was gone the
That
next
yeah.
day.
Okay, but let's go back to the quarterbacks. One of the things that I just want to realize, if you look at how much the Rams gave up for Stafford and what the Colts gave up for Wentz, I think Stafford is much better than Wentz, but I don't think it's that much of a difference. Especially since Wentz is much younger. And I know Rams are in win now mode, and that trade helps them for win now. But I definitely think the age difference for the Colts and for the Wentz and going and Stafford should at least make the trade seem a little bit more like
I think
similar. I guess.
it was a very different situation with the Stafford Golf trade because those two teams. I mean, I because the Eagles were kind of like very on the fence with Wentz, like, should he stay? Should he go? I don't
Should I
know.
say?
So they had literally no leverage. But the Rams said, "All right, we want to get Jared Goff out of town so badly." And they were pretty public about. Well, I don't know if they were public about that, but they made it clear with how much they gave up to get rid of him. And it was very clear that Matt Stafford and the Lions would not be doing anything. And that was the rare case where the Lions were able to get leverage because the Lions were like, "Hey, we'll take on your quarterback. He can be a bridge for us, but we're going to need a lot of compensation in return. And you can have our older quarterback who's on the tail end of his prime." So
Mm-hmm.
it was a very different situation because it was very mutually beneficial for both teams. The Eagles were flailing and the Colts knew it, and so
Yeah.
the Eagles had literally no leverage.
I think Wentz is going to have a great year with the Colts.
Yeah,
I
now you
think
do. Now you can
the
finally root for him.
no, I'm not going to. I don't know if I'll root for him, but I think he's going to have a great. See, the only thing I'm going to root for is because it makes the Eagles look worse if he has a great
Well,
year.
no,
But
no. If
the
he has
reason,
a great year, the Eagles get an extra first round pick.
yeah, but it'll be a late pick, so it doesn't really. Well, what is it like? Is it if he makes a
I don't care if we get the number. The Jags have the 1 pick and the 22 pick, and that's a really good spot. I'll take that any day.
no? I just want to know what is it like? If is it if he's on the
If
Pro
he
Ball? If he's a
if he plays 75% of the snaps or more, or he plays 70% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs. So this accounts for like a season-ending injury late in the
got
year.
it.
So I think the original offer was actually a third and a fifth. That's just what I heard. And I guess Howie was able to kind of say, listen, he's going to be really good for you.
No, no.
Make it a conditional second, and we got a deal. That's possible. I heard it was a third and a fifth. And I'll give,
But I
you know what? I'm very, you know how very scarce it is for me to give Howie any props, but if he was able to negotiate it from here to here, I'll take it.
from what. Well, that's the thing. What I heard is that it was a third. It was that offer from the beginning, and the Eagles kept trying to push it, and that's why like the Bears like they tried to push with the Bears backed out. New England wouldn't even give them calls. It was just the Colts, and the Colts only give them the third and the conditional second or first, and that was it.
Uh,
And
yeah,
but yeah,
Colts
no,
fleeced the Eagles.
the after the trade, the rumors I've been hearing of the Eagles taking a quarterback at 6 have been like I've heard a lot of them,
And
and
I'm hating it less and less. I
I
used to
would
be like,
love to.
no.
You
But
don't like Hurts. I think Hurts is your guy. I don't think you're going to be able to take a
I,
guy at. I don't. With the teams that are ahead of you, like, I don't know enough about Trey Lance, but you know, 3 quarterbacks are going in front of you. With Jaguars taking one, Jets taking one, and wait,
Atlanta.
who's and
Atlanta might
Atlanta.
Atlanta
I
just
think
might be like, no, screw that and go somewhere else. But
I wouldn't be. I think Atlanta. I wouldn't be surprised if they take Micah Parsons,
Micah Parsons,
but
yeah.
Mika is it Micah?
It's Micah Parsons.
Micah? No. Uh, yeah. Like
It's
I
possible.
just think that there's more holes on your team than for you to
Oh,
be taking a
you
quarterback.
don't got to tell
When
me that. You don't have to tell me
I'm
that.
saying,
If
like,
someone like Justin Fields fall, I'd be fine with that. I just don't really want Trey Lance there, you know.
yeah,
But I hate it less and less. But here's what I think probably would happen. I think the Eagles, because the Eagles said that they're not just going to give Hurts the job now. They're going to bring in somebody to, challenge him for it. So going back to the quarterback carousel, I see the Eagles bringing in a cheap veteran, say like a Ryan Fitzpatrick or dark horse, a Marcus Mariota, because Marcus Mariota and Jalen Hurts, they have Mariota obviously bigger. They have very similar play styles. They kind of have a. They're both kind of. They were both incredible in college, like big scrambling quarterbacks. Well, Jalen Hurts isn't big. They have questionable arms, but like a load of upside, and maybe Mariota might be the guy who can push Hurts enough to help him reach that upside. That's my hot take.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised about that, but I think the draft is the worst thing for the
Yeah,
Eagles to do.
I agree.
So if they want the quarterback competition, they used to get the guy. So it's either you either have the veteran who will win now and will help train Wentz for the future, instead of getting 2 young guys that neither of them will have the older guy to. It's
Yeah,
like what the Giants did with signing Colt McCoy, which was a great signing by
yeah.
helping Daniel Jones.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think bringing in a cheap veteran, and that might even be like Jacoby Brissett now. That would be crazy. That would be so funny. But yeah, I think that's gonna happen. I would love it if it was Marcus Mariota. And I guess that could either Mariota, Fitzpatrick, or maybe even Brissett. They could. I think any of them could come in and they could help out.
Please, please, please do not sign Fitz
Oh, you
Fitzmagic.
know that means we're going to
No,
sweep
no,
we're going to sweep you next year if we bring in
no.
Fitzmagic. He's never been in
See
the
that's
NFC East.
I
We're
love
bringing in
Fit. I
Fitzmagic. You know what? Screw it. Screw Marcus Mariota. We're bringing in Fitzmagic and we are sweeping
no,
the New York
no,
Giants
no,
next
no.
year.
I love Fitzmagic too much for him to go to the Eagles.
If
I would
Fitzpatrick
cry if
goes
he
to the Eagles, I might just have to invest in a Ryan
Fitzman.
Fitzpatrick midnight green jersey.
If he goes to he can go to any team but the Cowboys and the Eagles, and I'll still love him. Besides that, I won't
Speak
be able to handle it if he goes to the Eagles because he's just the best. He's just Fitzmagic.
true. Fear the beard. Speaking of the
Okay,
Cowboys,
now let's
uh,
now let's move on to the.
wow. Completely just cut me off there. I was gonna say, speaking of the Cowboys, let's talk about the Dak situation, but alright. I guess it's the Adam show now. You wanna talk about the Dak situation?
Yeah,
Or
I
you
was
want me
going
to
to talk
start it?
about the Watson.
No, we can do that later.
The
It's alright. It's alright. We'll take
okay,
as much time to get to
yeah,
Watson as the Texans do to trading him. If they ever even do.
got it. Okay, so Dak is going to get franchise tagged, in my opinion. I don't think what the Cowboys are going to offer him is not what he's going to want because of his injury. So he's going to get the franchise tag. And I honestly, I'm not that big on Dak Prescott. I think he does have a lot of talent, but he has yet to understand how to manage a game and win. Because in the games that he wasn't hurt, what was it? He should have lost against Atlanta, but there was the onside kick. He went down early against Seattle and then battled his way back and then lost in the final half, like final 5 minutes of the fourth. What was the other game? He was losing down by the Giants and then slowly started to come back and then he got hurt. They're saying what I've learned Dak Prescott is that his first half is terrible and then he brings it back up in the second half, loses a close game, and because of that, people just look at the numbers, goes, oh, we threw for 400 yards. But 300 of that was in the second half in garbage time when they were down by a lot. No, I'm not saying like those are the exact numbers, but if you look at the games, his second half stats are so much better than his first half because they're down by so much by halftime. The
Okay.
Browns game, they were getting the Browns games, they were
Okay.
getting smoked. They were getting
Of course they were getting smoked, but he was able to bring them back. Not many quarterbacks can do that. You know, they were down
but
like they were. I know, like the
but not
Falcons are like,
but
but
most quarterbacks with that offensive lineup
okay,
aren't
okay,
down by
okay.
that
I don't
much at
listen,
halftime.
listen, listen. The offense doesn't stop the other offense from scoring touchdowns. Their defense was putrid the first half of the season. Putrid. They let the Falcons drop 40. They let the Browns drop 40. They let the Giants drop 35. The Giants, led by their old coach Jason Garrett, dropped 35 on them. No,
Well,
it's
no,
that defense that was selling them. Listen,
no,
I'm not the one
yeah,
who I rarely ever defend Dak Prescott. I think that he was I think that you can't deny that he's an elite quarterback now, and I hope that
mm,
the
mm,
Cowboys just
mm.
mismanage him again. They're gonna try their best, but I hope they mismanage that contract situation again. I hope he goes to like Chicago or something, so I can finally root for him without being like, oh my god, he's a Cowboys quarterback and ruin. Sorry, I'm so sorry. My
Okay,
cat's in the
I
background.
refuse to call someone an elite quarterback until they find a way to win a game where it's him managing the game. If he was an elite quarterback, if Tom Brady was on that Dallas team, instead of turning the ball over several times in the first half and going and or doing quick drives, Tom Brady will drive the ball, make long drives down the field to waste time to keep the defense off the field. He's not an elite quarterback because he doesn't know how to keep his defense off the field. What was it? He had multiple turnovers in the first half in each game. That's not an elite quarterback.
He had to deal with so many injuries on the O line. That entire, you know what? I'm fuck. You know what? Screw it. I'm doing Cowboys defense right now. Their O line injured to hell and back. I know how that feels. I'm an Eagles fan. Zeke regressed tremendously. Tony Pollard turns it on at the end of the year, but Zeke throughout the entire season had so many fumbling issues. That's where most of the turnovers came from. I mean, yeah, he had great weapons, obviously Dak, but it take a bunch of quarterbacks should have some great weapons, but if they can't get them the ball, then it's moot. Dak Prescott. You could say he's a system of that offense, but you know who's running that offense? Mike freaking McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, who was ran into town by who couldn't even make Aaron Rodgers led team go more than 7-9. Like I think Dak Prescott has talent, and I think you're just letting your Giants bias show a little
No,
bit.
I think he does have talent, but to me, I just feel that you can't be calling him an elite quarterback
I
if he
think you
has yet to
can.
find the way to win a game.
I you're talking about a quarterback who went 13-3 his rookie year, and then after like a semi down year in 2017 and 2018, picked it back up, led the Cowboys to go 9-10-6, still with a terrible defense. Like
No,
I hate
well,
defending
no,
Dak.
that's the thing.
I hate it.
No. 2028. No, it was 2019, I think.
No,
No,
2019.
2018. 2018 when they went 10-6, their defense was still pretty good. It wasn't outstanding, but it wasn't
They
nothing close to
had
how it is now.
Demarcus Lawrence
They
and
had
a
that was
good line.
Leighton
And
Vander Esch. Leighton Vander Esch was healthy that entire year, and Leighton
okay, their
Vander Esch is
secondary still was doo doo
that was when they
bums.
had Byron Jones.
He
Awuzie had a great year that year.
Yeah, he had one interception in his entire career in Dallas.
Byron Jones and Awuzie, they both had great years that year. There's someone else. Jeff Heath was still good. Was like the quarterback of the secondary that year. He wasn't a solid. He wasn't outstanding,
Okay, we're
but
talking about Jeff Heath
he
as
did
if
have. He did
he's a
string
game
together a couple
changer.
good
We're
years with the
talking about the
Cowboys.
eliteness of Dak Prescott being reliant on whether Jeff Heath can manage a game or not. Can be a
No,
reliant
but
safety or not.
my
What the
point is
hell is
that
going on?
my point is that the years that Dak Prescott made the playoffs, it's because the entire team was top to bottom a solid team, a great team. Now that the other players on the team aren't doing as well, he can't even keep the game close until the final half of the fourth quarter. If
That's
you
when it
look at
matters most.
Watson,
That's when it matters most. Like, fine, let's talk about Watson now.
but no, I'm saying Watson. Watson was in a worse
Watson couldn't win games
situation.
either when his team
No,
collapsed. He's still
No, but
elite.
Watson kept it close, and then there's the last second of the team that
Watson
the
almost got beat by the
beautiful.
Jags this year. We're comparing, like Dak.
Well, no,
Yeah,
Jack.
go ahead.
Dak, the games that this year specifically, the games that he played did not impress me one bit. He could, in the first half, he couldn't score in the Seattle defense, which was terrible. The first half, he couldn't score in the Atlanta defense, that was terrible. To me, you can't be calling it someone an elite quarterback if they can't string together a full game where they're playing solid. And this year, Dak Prescott played great. If you take just his second half, he's the top 3 quarterback in the league. But if you string together the entire game, I don't know if you can. You definitely can't put him top 5, and he's arguably a top 10.
I would say like top 10, top 8 for Dak Prescott. You're right. He is in top 5, obviously, but I think top 8 is still pretty elite. Um,
Well, no, you can't be calling elite because that's the top 25%.
okay, that's
Elite,
the top 25% of NFL quarterbacks. Even
but
like the bottom half of NFL quarterbacks, like around that, like Kirk Cousins range, that's still like elite, I would say. I mean, maybe
I
not elite by NFL standards, but like compared, like
but
Dak is better
I
than
think
most other quarterbacks in the league. That's
no,
true.
I think you can. I can name right now. I'm gonna go through it. I can probably name 10 quarterbacks that are better than that. Okay, Josh Allen.
Maybe right now,
Yeah,
sure. Maybe right now.
Josh Allen. I want to say Lamar. Right now, Lamar.
Lamar needs to work on his accuracy.
I think all in all, I think I would put Lamar as elite quarterback over Dak Prescott right now. I think by the end of the career, Dak will jump him, but right now, I would have Lamar.
Mm.
The way Baker played in the second half of the season, you can
Stop
make
it.
the
No, stop it
argument.
right now. Let's
You
just go
can
back
make
to the
the
quarterback
argument.
carousel. If you're gonna
I
keep
don't.
you're gonna keep spouting this nonsense, let's just go back to the topic of the video.
You can
I'm
argue.
not
You can
interested in
make the
having debates where
argument.
you think
You
Baker
can make the
Mayfield is a more
argument.
complete
You
quarterback.
can. I don't think so. He's not an elite quarterback, but neither is Dak. Mahomes,
Yeah, okay,
Her-
sure.
Herbert, Watson. Yeah, I think that's it for the AFC, unless I'm forgetting someone. In the NFC, Rodgers, Stafford.
No. No! You kidding me? You're putting Matt Stafford over Dak Prescott? Get out of here!
Throughout,
You want to talk about
throughout
being
it,
a winner? You want to talk about being a winner? What are you talking about? Matt Stafford's not a winner. Until you can
and you
prove you
think
can win
that
games, you're not a. Oh my god! You
okay,
kidding me?
fine. But
Jeez.
then Kirk
No,
Cousins,
oh,
yes. Kirk Cousins. Look, there's only I think there's only one quarterback to throw for over 4,000 yards and like what was it 25 touchdowns the past 3 years,
who are his
and that is
receivers?
Kirk Cousins.
Who is his running back? Who is his
Fine, if you
defense for a while until this year?
so we're gonna talk about that, but if you want to talk about the surrounding cast, Matthew Stafford has only had one. Matthew Stafford I think played over 100 career games. Only 3 of them he had a 100-yard rusher. Ezekiel Elliott has 100-yard rushing multiple times in a season. The help besides Calvin Johnson, the help that Matthew Stafford gets is nothing compared to the help that Dak Prescott gets, and yet consistently they probably win about the same amount of games per year. So how can you
No, they
say
don't. The Lions are like a 4 to 6 win team every year. The Cowboys were like they're like a 9 to 10 win team every year.
not this year
Oh
with
my
Dak
god,
Prescott? What was it?
you're making
They
me
were one.
defend Dak
They were
Prescott. I hope you
they were
realize you've brought me to my breaking point, Adam.
they were 1-4 with Dak Prescott before he got hurt. I don't think that's that good.
Yeah,
And
I
if you
think
look at the
that's Mike
teams that he
McCarthy
played,
more than anything. That's Mike McCarthy and the defense more than anything. I don't think that's Dak Prescott's fault.
so how come you're giving Dak the benefit of the doubt with the head coach and the defense, but you won't give that to Matthew Stafford?
Because Matthew Stafford's had like Jim Caldwell he couldn't do well. Jim Caldwell was a fine coach.
Jim Caldwell's out of the league right now.
Yeah, because do I think that's just? No. I think he totally deserved his job to keep his job.
Well, like I said, Matthew Stafford has only 3 times he had a 100-yard rusher on his team in a game. There's what was it? Who was his quarterback? Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia is 10 times worse than McCarthy. And McCarthy's bad, but Patricia's worse.
He only had to deal with
But yeah,
Patricia for 2 seasons, and Patricia did defensive play calling.
and where that helped them, their defense was terrible.
You're making a completely different argument now.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people give Dak the benefit of the doubt and call him elite because of that.
Because of the
But yet,
once
you give to someone else,
Matt Stafford doesn't have that elusiveness. Doesn't have the same. I mean, he probably has similar. He probably has the same arm talent, but one thing that separates Dak is his athleticism, his vision. You know, like Dak Prescott isn't just like some game manager. You know,
so
he
how
makes plays
come
himself.
you made a big deal? So you're bringing up athleticism, but yet when I brought Lamar Jackson into this, you
Because
acted
Lamar Jackson
surprised.
isn't a well-rounded quarterback either. Dak has both. Dak is a dual threat. Lamar Jackson's mostly just a running back. He's not a running back. He's mostly just a running quarterback. You know?
Daniel Jones is a dual threat. Jalen Hurts is a dual threat.
Okay, but not all dual
So
threats
many
are made
people
equal.
always
Not all dual
defending
threats are
that.
made equal. Dak Prescott came into the league probably with at Jalen Hurts' level and is now progressed to the point where he's more elite than Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones. I think that's not a controversial thing to say. And I think
No,
way too
that's
off track.
what I'm trying to say is that so many people defend Dak Prescott because of the defense was terrible this year, but yet once you bring up other people and about how they were in worse situations than Dak Prescott, you can't defend them anymore. That's my point. It was
I'm
like
not saying you can't
Carson
defend them. I still think
Wentz.
they're great quarterbacks, but I just think Dak Prescott's better. You know, I think Dak Prescott's situation this year was worse than Matt Stafford's. As crazy as that sounds. I mean,
maybe this year, maybe just this year.
Semblance of a running game.
Once you see it, what I'm saying is that he's always had a phenomenal team around him, and when he didn't, he couldn't keep up in the game until garbage time. Garbage time, he put in some final last-second points that didn't matter to the outcome of the game, that made it seem much closer than it was.
Well, it did matter to the outcome of the game because he sometimes won. He was down by what, 16 against Atlanta? Even like he was down like 16 with like 2 minutes left. That's like impossible to do. You know, against any NFL defense. I don't care.
No, but as I'm saying, if Atlanta recovers that onside kick, he doesn't win a start this year. Actually, against the Giants, but it's because Andy Dalton came in and saved them.
You think Andy Dalton came in and saved him with like one good throw?
Andy Dalton, when Dak went down, it was a 14-point game. Because after that, Zeke ran for a touchdown, and then they drove down and scored again, and then the Giants went 3-and-out, and then they went down and kicked the field goal.
Andy Dalton personally stopped the Giants on third down. You know what? Let's stop talking.
No, but I'm saying,
I'm done with this. I'm done with this conversation. Let's talk.
That actually just shows their defense. In that game, Andy Dalton did more to help the
Giants' offense. The Giants had a shit offense this year. Pardon my French. You can attest to that.
Oh yeah, no, Giants' offense was terrible this year.
Worse defense, you know.
Giants' offense was terrible this year.
Exactly.
Okay, I just want to get to my final Prescott thing, which I mentioned.
Dropped 35 on the Cowboys' defense.
Prescott has yet to impress me in a way that other quarterbacks who are elite has impressed me.
I mean, that's fair.
And to me,
you know what? That's a fair statement to say. But to say that Dak Prescott is
not elite
just because he doesn't do like what other elite quarterbacks do I think that's a bad claim.
I don't think he's elite.
Some agreement here. Some agreement. I can agree with you. He is not as eye-popping and dynamic as some of these other quarterbacks. I agree. And I think that, he was definitely the product of a great system, but that doesn't make him any less of a great quarterback. And I think that he needs to go somewhere else, like Chicago, who's having a real rough go at it, and he can prove that he can win there. I think that would settle this debate. If he stays in Dallas, who knows? He'll still
if he stays,
Jerry Jones.
Dallas will never win with Jerry Jones as the general manager or Jones family running the organization how they deal.
They have
But
3 rings with
the
Jerry Jones.
if him going to Chicago would be bad. If I
It would be
think
bad
the
for Dak.
best
I think it would be bad for Dak.
the
However, if Dak is as elite as I'm kind of as everyone else says, I don't think he's as elite as everyone else says, but I still think he's elite. If Dak
I don't
Prescott,
think he's elite.
if Dak Prescott can make it work in Chicago, then you'll be eating those words. If he goes, he won't go to Chicago. He's
I
too good.
think I think
Dallas
the
is throwing
best
all
fit
their
for the
Dallas is throwing
best
the
fit
entire bank
the
at Dak
the,
Prescott.
the,
So
the best fit for Dak Prescott is San Fran.
I think I can see that. Yeah. No, I think the best fit is him staying in Dallas. If I'm being
Okay, wait, let me check the okay. So now talking about San Fran, let's get into Garoppolo.
I
Well,
don't think
there's a lot
it's a
there's a lot of quarterbacks like Winston, Mariota, Garoppolo, Carr, and somewhat Darnold, but Darnold's a little bit in another way about how they are Winston's. I don't know if I don't. He's gonna end up moving. Mariota's gonna end up moving to try to find a place where they'll be the starter.
maybe.
But Carr and Garoppolo probably won't move. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get traded.
And I
I
think
wouldn't
it's
be.
fun to throw out there. I can see.
I wouldn't be. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if Garoppolo and Carr get traded at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if if Houston finally decides to trade Watson. One of them breaks the bank by giving them, let's just say Niners give them 2 first round picks, maybe 3 first round picks. Garoppolo, like I wouldn't be surprised if they put Garoppolo in a huge trade to try to bring in Watson.
Maybe.
I,
I mean, again, I don't think. I think Garoppolo's staying put. I think San Fran still thinks
yeah,
that they can contend with Garoppolo. Um, as far as Watson, yeah, and Derek Carr I think is the same way. Although Derek Carr I think has a better chance of moving than Garoppolo does. I think
yeah,
Carr could
yeah.
be definitely packaged for Deshaun Watson. But the one rumor I did hear about Deshaun Watson was the Panthers mortgaging, I think, 3 first round picks and Christian McCaffrey. That was the mock deal I heard. So it's probably going to be less than that. But that would be such a blockbuster, and I think both teams win. I honestly think both
Well,
teams win.
how old is Mike Davis?
He he's old for a running back, but he isn't old. I think he still has some juice left, and he was serviceable. I mean, it's not like they're going to be running the ball that much anyway with that receiving. If they bring in Dak, no, not Dak. If they bring in Deshaun Watson, I think Curtis Samuel comes back. Um, and I think that they will go for more of with a Joe Brady scheme. I think they go for more of a passing attack, and I think Mike Davis will just serve the Clyde Edwards-Helaire at LSU kind of role, where he can run, but he's going to be mostly as a utility receiving back. Same with Curtis Samuel, especially if they have Deshaun Watson.
See,
So
the only question is that how much are they giving Teddy Bridgewater each year? You know, what is it,
they
20 million, 25? You're not
Uh,
going to give him that money to
no, I
sit
think
on
it
the
was a
bench.
3 year worth, like exactly 20 million. So I think they aren't giving him that much every year.
No, I think it's a 3 year, 60 million. I think it's 20 million a
You
year.
sure?
Yeah.
Uh,
Say like
maybe.
if I'm right on that, I don't think I think it's a great trade if the Panthers if they can find a way to move Bridgewater, and then the Texans, as good as McCaffrey is, you just made a huge trade for David Johnson, so now you're gonna have two 15 million plus running backs on your lineup. That's terrible.
Well, I mean, they're going to be rebuilding, so they're probably going to cut Johnson or trade Johnson somehow. Um, hold on, wait. Oh yeah, he signed a 3 year, 63 million. My mistake. With a signing bonus of 33 million. So, yeah, he's a pretty expensive quarterback, but he wasn't expected to be there long term anyway, and they could
No.
probably cut ties
So,
with him. He could be on the move if they do get Deshaun Watson. He might even be packaged in that deal instead of McCaffrey. But
I
I think
wouldn't.
if that were the case, I still think both teams win because the Texans have like no future. They've traded it all away to like the Dolphins and the whoever else they traded it to. But they don't have a first round this year. They didn't have one last year. So getting more picks, especially because they are clearly rebuilding, would be best case scenario.
Yeah, no, I'm just like with the Panthers. I think trading multiple picks is not a good idea because they still have their defense is very young. Their offense, if they just like what they need is after this year, they bring in a young quarterback to fill in for Teddy Bridgewater. So Teddy Bridgewater's final year of his contract will be a mentoring year for the rookie. and then you'll have a slightly experienced but very young defense, and then an offense with McCaffrey if he's still on the team and he's healthy, running the ball. They'll have a young receiver, and then you bring in another young receiver, and then you have a very young team with a lot of potential if they do it right. And I think Matt Rule is a great coach. I think I want the Giants to sign him. I think what he's doing with Carolina is building up a bright future for them.
I just think that they expedite the process if they bring in Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson still is young, um, and their defense, like you said, is very young. They spent their entire 2018 draft on defensive players, so they have depth. They have use.
2018?
Not 2018, 2019, or 2020. Oh my god! Oh my
Oh,
god!
20, yeah.
What year are we in, Adam? What year are we in? Yeah, they spent their entire 2020 draft. You know, they had Chin, Gross Matos, Derek Brown. Um, they got Kenny Robinson out of the XFL. They just need to
PJ
upgrade at
Walker.
the corner position. What?
PJ Walker.
He's all yeah, XFL legend. They just need to upgrade at the corner position, and they can probably do that if with this free agent corner class. I think there are some names that they can bring in.
I
Um,
think that. Oh, I was thinking they'll probably draft like Farley. Is that his name? Or certain.
well,
If
if
one
they
of them.
still have the if they in this scenario if they trade for Watson they wouldn't have that pick. But if they have that
No.
pick and the Eagles don't take Trey Lance, then the Panthers might take Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance to the Panthers is a perfect fit, and I think the Panthers should even trade up for it if they really want it.
What was that? I don't know enough about Trey Lance, so I really need to research him. But I'm not that big on quarterbacks coming out of smaller schools. Like, I was big on Josh Allen, I'll give you that. But like, just in general, I like the more I like look at it, quarterbacks coming from smaller schools, it's just it puts up some red flags because they haven't really went up against the competition, which doesn't really mean anything. If he's your guy, he's your guy. You take him.
And I think that's why you
But
would sit him for a year though, so he can get that NFL
yeah,
mentorship behind Teddy Bridgewater.
yeah, yeah.
Which I think would be perfect. Although, because that would be just like the Chiefs taking Mahomes, who was very, 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 very raw coming out, and I think sitting behind Alex Smith for a year really was probably the main reason for his success in his sophomore year.
His immediate success. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I think Trey Lance is a similar prospect. Like there's always going to be a quarterback like that who's now going to be very heavily valued. Someone with like tremendous upside, like a great arm, all the physical tools. Just like you don't know if they have the experience necessary. And I think that that kind of quarterback is becoming a lot more sexy to these NFL teams. Um, like last year you had your Josh Love, who was projected to be like a
Jordan
mid
Love.
first round pick too. Yeah, did I say Josh Love?
Yeah,
That was a
but I
different
know.
quarterback in the draft. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you were talking about Josh Allen also, because Josh Allen came from Wyoming.
I'm recording, please. Ugh. Sorry,
So
my
I
bad.
think you were talking about. I think you were talking about Josh Allen because he came from Wyoming, which is in a Power Five school. It took a little bit of time, but like he had a lot of like coming out. But he said very raw with his skill, has an absolute cannon, can it much faster than it seems. Like a good running quarterback. It just
The
took him a year of
Yeah,
experience and
it
training
took
with
him
his accuracy to put
two
everything together.
years, and that's the risk you would take if you drafted Trey Lance to be your guy day one. I think if they kept Tyrod Taylor and brought in Josh Allen, that would be better for Josh Allen immediately off the bat. But they threw Josh Allen in right away, and thus it took him a few years to get settled. And he also has an incredible offensive coordinator in Brian Dable. He got helped out with Stephon Diggs. A lot of things went right for Josh Allen, and that doesn't always
Yes.
happen. You know.
Bills did a great job with surrounding their young quarterback with a lot of talent.
Yep.
Something that the Jets need to learn to do.
Yeah. Speaking of Jets, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors that he stays. I've heard rumors that he stays.
I think the best thing for the Jets to do is to keep him and not draft a quarterback in the first round.
If they
That's
get
not going to happen, but it's the best thing for them.
it might. You never know. I mean, I think the best thing for them is to keep Darnold, and then at 2 get Penei Sewell, and then like at their they have another first round pick. They can get either like a Travis Etienne if they wanted because they have no running back. Um, that would be
Okay.
dynamic for the
Now,
Jets.
what I think the Jets should do is they draft Jamar Chase. I think Sewell does have a lot of potential, but you're not going to spend back to back drafts on first round on tackles, especially
I think
with.
it's a worthy investment.
I think it is, but I believe you're lacking at receiver too much for you not to go out and get one.
I think you could address receiver in free agency rather
If they
than
do that, then yeah, they get Sewell. But if they don't
because
draft the, if they don't,
Sewell. I don't think you understand. Sewell's like a generational offense. He's like you remember how hyped Quentin Nelson was coming out, and look how well he turned out. I think Sewell's on that same level, and I think you
yeah,
don't want to pass up on a guy like Penei Sewell. Like
yeah.
he's the real deal, you know.
I
I
think
think if
so too. But
I think the
I think
Dolphins
the
could take him
Jets,
at 3 too.
yeah. But I also have a feeling that the Jets, with their new head coach, they're gonna want to create a new system or a new locker room with getting a new young guy to build around.
So their new offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, who's Matt's brother, they're probably going to run a similar style of offense to the one in San Fran. So don't even be surprised if a team like the Panthers trades up to number 2 to grab a Zach Wilson. The Jets trade back, get a Kyle Pitts who can be their George Kittle if the Eagles don't take him at 6, or any because that would that would be a really good scenario for the Jets. Um, there's so many things the Jets can do. I think the Jets actually unironically have a very bright future. No matter what they do, even if
Yeah.
they dump Darnold and
That,
they get married
well,
to Zach
they
Wilson.
have to do it right because like everyone's like talking about like Justin Fields or Zach Wilson would be the Jets guy, but they were saying the same thing about Darnold, and they just didn't give him any help.
Well, I think
You can have the best quarterback at coming out of the draft. If you don't put any help around him, he's not going to succeed. But
I don't think Joe Douglas ever really liked Sam Darnold that much. I think this was
no,
all part of Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas is very, very, very intelligent. Joe Douglas came in like during the preseason, I think, or like late in the off season to the Jets after the off season where they signed Le'Veon Bell and they drafted like Ja'Kai Polite. They had like they got C.J. Mosley. That was like the big offseason where like spending all this money, and I don't think Joe Douglas liked any of that. And he said, "Okay, we're gonna have to dismantle this." And I think
yeah,
I don't know. Joe Douglas go with might just want to say, "All right, Darnold, you're out. We're starting over," or he might say, "Listen, we can build around you. Let's get a Kyle Pitts." However, if they don't, if they do take a quarterback at 2, I think Zach Wilson is the better quarterback, but I think Justin Fields fits their system more.
yeah. So I still need to research. I want to wait for the combine free agency and all that
There
before I
isn't going
say
to be a
who's going to
combine
go
this
well.
year, or there may
Well,
be a virtual. I don't know what's
it's
going on.
at the combine. It's like the all the drills that they do. It's going to be at their camps. So
Okay.
when I say combine, that's what I'm going to be talking about because I want to see how Jamar Chase is because I know Jamar Chase is like
He's had
physical
a
receiver.
year.
So I want to, yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
a bunch of the top prospects had a year. So like Caleb Farley
Yeah,
sat, Micah
Mika
Parsons,
Parsons, Micah Parsons. Yeah, Jamar Chase. I'm surprised.
Trey Lance.
Uh, what's his face didn't Trevor Lawrence. I would have if I was him.
Yeah, I would have too, but I think I don't know. I
I
think he
think he
wanted to win
wanted the
something.
Heisman. Yeah, he wanted to win Heisman.
He had something to prove. I think he just wanted to seal it because I feel like if Trevor Lawrence didn't play this year and Justin Fields only played like half a season, Zach Wilson might have potential to be the number 1 pick if that was the case because Zach Wilson had a phenomenal year,
Yeah.
even though he played at a
Well,
smaller school.
that was saying, but the things that I saw is the games that Zach Wilson played against the bigger schools. I know Coastal Carolina, he did not play well,
That
and
was
there
like
was another
one
game,
game he didn't play well though.
and
Like
then
again,
there's another game that didn't play well. But those against like the top, like the better teams that he was playing, which
again, but
doesn't mean anything because it could have just been that game. It could have been in the moment because it was a very big game.
again,
But
I think getting focused on the level of competition is a little reductive for quarterbacks at least
no,
because if it's a
See,
corner, like I get it because you're not playing or like a receiver because you're not playing like good
yeah,
defenses or good receivers. But if you're a quarterback and you're showing like these physical tools that you can like throw the ball 50 yards downfield after running for 40 yards around in the pocket. That was like Zach Wilson could do. I think his physical tools are just off the
Yeah.
charts, and I think you
What
take a
I'm
bet
saying,
on him.
like the two like big names for the second pick is Fields and Wilson, and both of them have some red flags with where they're coming from. Wilson coming from a smaller school puts up some red flags, and Ohio State quarterbacks tend to not play well in the NFL.
Yeah, I think Fields makes more throws than Haskins did. Haskins most of his production came in like screenplays. I think
Yeah.
Fields has
Same with
incredible.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm not
Mac
big on
Jones
Mac
also,
Jones.
it's also the stigma with Alabama quarterbacks. You can't really when Tua
Well,
is the best of the bunch right now. You can.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I watched a little bit of the Bama games, and people were talking about how he had such a high completion percentage. Most of the throws were short
Wide open.
throws going right to Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle when he was healthy, and their other guy, who looks good, who was a freshman. It's like, and then once teams step up, that's when they hit the deep ball. So it was everything was written there for Mac Jones, and I'm not trying to discredit him. I'm
He's
more
a
trying to
playmaker.
say like the offensive coordinator and the well, yeah. So I think he's gonna be like AJ McCarron, where he never really gets his chance to become a starter.
I think Mac Jones is a very much a Bill Belichick type quarterback, and I think he has the same things that make Brady good is what makes Mac Jones good. Mac Jones isn't going to make the tough throws, but he's going to make the smarter throws. Like the ones that'll
Yeah.
he runs the system really well. Is what I'm saying. He's got some arm talent.
Yeah.
He's not like the most athletically gifted person, but he's got experience. He's good old Mac.
Okay. That looks about it for today's podcast. Thank you again for watching. Just wanna
No, fire Howie Roseman.
please don't.
Please do
Please don't.
fire
Please don't.
Howie Roseman. All right. Thank you guys for
Nope.
tuning in.
Nope.
Seriously, this will be the last time I ever wear this jersey, but it'll always be hanging there. Oh, and I got a new one for my collection. I got that on Valentine's Day, so I'm a very happy boy.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Adam. Deuces. Peace out, Antoine Winfields.